Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to Sinful Gaming. Hope you're all doing well. We are just gonna do our little live checks with everyone, but we are going to watch the Conquest Last Argument of Kings brand new reveals today for the brand new faction for the game. Be live in about an hour-ish. We're just gonna do our little shares, make sure everyone knows we're live and stuff. Come hang out and chat. It is a bit of an odd hour for us to be streaming, bright and early in the morning. If you are watching, let us know what you think the new faction of the game is going to be. We're working on some of the sacred bands tonight, which are these dudes. Cool little unit we can use to add some healing into our units. It doesn't like when I don't have my hand under the screen at the moment. I apologise. Jacob, good morning to you as well. It is certainly morning here. It is 5:30 a.m. where we are gotten up nice and early for this. Just sending out the things that were alive. Oh, nice. Boarding actions box set. Oh, nice. That sounds awesome, man. Alright, we've got a couple of the officers here we need to do as well, but got a bunch of new city states to add to our force. So use that to clear one up there. That certainly is most areas purple. No worries at all. We are here to help and get new people into the hobby. That is like everything our channel's about. So. Strats. We're actually here today because I know one of the games we do, Conquest Last Argument of Kings, is having the reveal of its next faction to come out in the game. So that will be happening in about 50-ish minutes. So we'll do a reaction stream to that. When that goes live. Okay, just starting on getting the second coat of purple, just getting a nice base coat down for the secret pen. Yeah, if you're joining us and you do play Conquest, what do you think this new faction will be? It definitely seems like it's going to have a little bit of Asian-inspired thought to it. Look like a brute-like figure holding something, maybe like an Oni or Kami or something like that. Yeah, it sounds really cool for an idea for Necromunda. We do want to get some Necromunda happening on the channel this year. It's one of the games that have got just a ton of stuff sitting there for. At the moment, we're just getting the best codes down for these sacred bands. It's all just a big process to get it all nice and ready. And after these, I've got some of the clockwork hoplites and some of the companion cavalry to do, and some inquisitors, which would be a fun unit. Caterpillar, yeah, up quite early. There is a Conquest reveal stream you wanted to catch, so no, not a GW reveal stream today. It is a Parabellum reveal stream for Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings today. Oh, nice. So at the moment we are working on the, okay, figure out what, these are called the Sacred Band. They're a unit of sort of elite priestly fighters from the city-states in Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. What's cool is you can actually attach them to some of the other units you have that gives their other units a little bit of healing during the game, which is nice. Ooh. Yeah, so we've got a purple base scheme. Following a sort of like a very traditional Greek-inspired army. So the army itself has like hoplites and phalangites or they like traditional Greek style units. But then also has like the mythical creatures from Greece, so there's units of like satyrs and minotaurs and titans in the army as well, which is really cool. So it's a mix of like Greek history and Greek mythology. Two seconds, I'm just going to grab a drink. And we are back. Apologies, I'm going to grab a quick drink. Yeah, it's not going to get cooler for a while now. Yeah, pretty lucky. When we first moved into this place, we got brand new aircon put in. Very important. So just getting the base coat down for the flesh using Army Painter's Barbarian Flesh. Just realised for the most part these guys are actually barefoot. Just don't have to paint sandals like I do with Hoglins. Don't forget, if you are watching it as well, to drop a like on the video. Helps people come find us, especially when we're live. Slightly going to get all the skin done on these guys. 25 minutes to the reveal show starts. Yeah. If you're joining us, what are you hoping to see from the new Conquest faction? You have indeed seen some of the teasers and stuff that they've shown. Definitely looks like we're doing a more Asian inspired faction. Sadly, it doesn't look like it's going to be the Weaver Quartz. Oh, Parabolin, it is totally going to be something Japanese inspired, I think, by the look of what they just posted, like a red sun rising over some mountains. I think we might be about to have company in a second. Yeah, my kids' doors opening. I mean, it is getting close to their wake up time. Yep, that'll be the door. Ronya, hello mate. How are we? Fair enough. Now we're about 15 minutes away from the reveal show of what Conquest is going to put out. These are the Sacred Band from Conquest, Last Argument of Kings. Like Greek, like zealot warriors, or not zealot, like religious warriors, temple guardians. hear that, that is the daughter in the background. It is such a good game. Like, my local community for Conquest is slowly building up. Got a few people that play along with me, which is great. Definitely needs to grow a bit more. Oh, that is the daughter slamming all the doors shut. She has a thing with doors have to be shut. I think my little boy's awake as well. Such a good game by Conquest. No worries, right? I was going to say, I thought it was quite late for the Euro time zones. There's a ton of under. Pretty much the whole side of most of these models. Okay, they're almost done. Just these ones. 5 minutes, we'll switch over to the Parabellum stream. So I think we're about to get a visitor. I'll be down. Look at that terrible bed hair, sweetie. I think you're done. streaming from the kitchen table, so someone's out here prowling for food. Aren't you happy, girl? Dad hammer life. Right, we might switch on over. Just keep an eye on this here. Oh, there we go. Parabellum is live, so we'll knock music off in the background. Righty. Let's bring everything to full screen for everyone to have a look at. For everyone watching. Oh. Wait a sec, that doesn't appear to have placed it very nicely. So, damn Streamlabs. See, we're just moving it here. And then it's a bit of guesswork. Let's see what we've got here. See if this works. Sorry, everyone. Click. Oh, that's better. I'll just take my other camera off quickly. There we go. That should be better for everyone to see and get excited for those. But yeah, so we're about to have the Parabellum reveal stream of the brand new faction for Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings. Let us know what your thoughts are. What you think we're going to see. So this one. Oh, okay. For some reason mine has not picked up something.
cool thing too. And at some point, just before I do a screen share, I realized that all the names are in the comments. So I just didn't press the button just for a second, and I just caught myself in the last minute.
Well,
So
let's see
that
what we are going to
We
get.
have to give credit though to our vanguards, who were very, very consistent in asking us at random times, at random conversations, asking which is faction 9, to wait for that slip of the tongue from us, to get it out and spill the beans there. They really tried.
Oh, they definitely. I was asked regularly, and I found myself only typing faction 9 and never the name in the emails of anything, so that I couldn't possibly screw it up. And pretty
I
fun.
have a confession to make as well. So,
Uh-oh.
because of how we are very secretive in our naming conventions, and even the names are not allowed to be shared to anyone, I had to develop code names in our playtesting names so that just we don't get confused. So I put Leo as one of the characters' name. I put Stavros as one of the characters' name. I put Brice as one of the characters' name. So we don't get confused of like the naming.
Wait,
And in the
what
playtesting-
character did you put as me? Wait, you can't say it.
You
I'm
can't
gonna
say
find out.
yet.
Can't
We
say
haven't
yet.
told them the
Not yet.
character names yet, so you can't tell
Would
them.
you like to
so
guess,
close.
Stavros?
We're so close, man.
Right, so
Yeah, don't do it
Would you
now.
like
Don't
me
blow
to
it.
guess, Evandra? That could go wrong.
getting ready to
Don't
start.
blow it,
Let me
bro.
tell you,
Okay.
Stavros in playtesting is very powerful.
They did share.
I accept this.
So that
I
When
told
we
my wife.
introduce the guy's
was
name to
already-
reveal them.
says we are
Yeah, we
going
will.
to see
We'll
that
let you know when we get to that. When we reveal the character that is Stavro, we'll let you know. So I think we've got well over 100 people already in. Yanni, you're going to be letting everybody in, right?
Yes, so far, nothing from Google Meets.
You should
Are
be getting
we-
a ton of them. I've been letting them in because I haven't seen you doing it.
Oh,
so
okay.
make sure that you're on top of it, because I'm about to start and I'm not going to be able to anymore.
Okay, sure.
I do enjoy like.
So again,
a
formal welcome to everyone. We do welcome everybody who is following the live stream on Twitch as well. Joey will be faithfully asking questions through chat, but if you do want to ask questions in voice, do feel free to join us over here on the Google Meet, where you can ask questions in voice. But if you like just typing questions, do feel free to join us on the Twitch stream and follow along. Hello, McGuire Uccello from Massachusetts. I too am joining you from Massachusetts. So shout out to all the massholes available on this feed. We're very excited to have everyone here. We're ready to go, I think, to start sharing. And I
Alrighty.
think
Gonna see what we're gonna get.
I can't remember who it was now that said, why don't you use PowerPoint? And I'm like, God, I use PowerPoint for everything. But for this one, because we are doing more presentation and less of a back and forth. Oh, John, it was you. Thank you. You'll be happy to know, John, you're getting the PowerPoint. I hope you get a royalty on this one, buddy.
Alrighty.
All right, so I don't spill the beans on what this. We are going to show you a few things first.
Because, torture. We like torture.
Torture, exactly.
Alrighty.
There we go.
Let's see what we're gonna
Needed
get.
it to show up on my screen. So we're going to start out with something you are probably already familiar with. Yanni, you got everybody coming in? Because I'm seeing a lot of people still waiting to join, buddy.
Nothing pings here. I can't do anything.
All
I
right,
don't know
I'm
why.
going to have to. Can somebody else take that over, please, instead of admitting
I-
people?
I would be helping. It's not coming on my end either. I'm not getting the notifications. I think something's going on there.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Is it
You're getting
maybe
them, Tom?
is it maybe capped at around this number?
No, we're still able to. Is anybody else seeing the admitting button?
No, it just
No.
didn't happen for me this
No,
time.
it doesn't pop up.
All right,
I
hold on.
think when you changed the settings earlier, so that we
Oh,
don't
you're probably
like
right. When I had to change the settings to keep people from invading us, I had to. Bear with me 1 second, gang, and I will just let people join. Never like having to admit people anyways, to be honest.
Ready to click.
Alright. So we are going to see this.
All right, that should solve that problem.
Up on screen now, they've got the new city-states. Or, sorry, not city-states, 100 Kingdoms. I've been painting city-states. It's the new 100 Kingdoms starter.
All right, so now we are ready to go. You can still see the screen anyways, so I'm glad about that. And I'll make it a little larger for everybody.
Alrighty.
So we have the 100 Kingdoms new release coming up. This is the month for the 100 Kingdoms releases. I want to point out on our new one-player starters, and this will be true for the upcoming one-player starters for the other factions as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you will see that there's new stuff added to it as well. All of our starters will be complementary to the 5th anniversary starters, and they will include new two-dimensional terrain pieces, dice, measuring tools, new quick start guides, and a new welcome guide for each of the units. So the prior 100 Kingdoms set was more of a cavalry set, and of course that last slide showed you what the new set looks like. Last happy hour, we showed you the Archangel to a lot of oohs and ahs, but we did not have painted the alternate heads and shields, so we wanted to give you a view of the Archangel in its alternate form, as well as show you the height, because I think it's one of the nice things is to be able for you to get a true understanding of just what we're talking about here. And as you can see, relative to the new Men-at-Arms sculpture, this is a big boy. 29 centimeters tall, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tasso, it is the tallest figure we've gotten so far.
Yeah, don't think we've seen anything on this one.
I don't remember anything close to 29 centimeters.
Daryl, something's wrong. We're not seeing him.
Oh.
And you got to go into presentation mode, by the way, to make it larger.
It is larger. That's why I'm wondering why you're not seeing it.
There we go. Now we see it.
Yeah, that's the non-presentation mode, however.
Maybe presentation opens a new screen and you've got to show the new screen, Daryl?
No, maybe. Let's try that.
We all learn new tech every day. He is a big boy, that Archangel.
Can you see it now?
No.
Nope.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Nope.
All right, hold on.
Changed.
John, where are you on here? Come on, help me out, buddy.
I was gonna say, whoever had this idea better come up and save us now.
I am in presentation mode, gang. It's just only sharing. Here's the problem that we have with this delightful thing, is that when I switch into full presentation mode, I can no longer see the chat or the screen, so I can't see what you're looking.
We need to get you a second screen then.
Yes.
I only have one screen, kids, so we'll do non-presentation screen for the moment. I will just make it as big as is humanly possible.
Alrighty. So yeah, he is a big.
That's
boy.
frustrating.
That's gorgeous.
Can you zoom in, Daryl?
I'm working on it. I had to get out of the shared screen part to do that. It wasn't letting me do what I wanted to do.
Technology.
It's a beautiful thing.
You know how people have pet peeves? Technology that doesn't work the way it's meant to? There is nothing that will drive me into a rage faster. It's insane. And I am actually well known for having gremlins.
Who made the InDesign comment for me?
All right, let's see. That's his...
Some other soul who hurts as much as you do, Leo.
Where are you getting, Abigail?
Well, we can edit this part, right, Tessa?
Yep.
Slick and professional all the way.
All the way. Nothing but the best for you guys.
Can you take out when I speak of like a 5 or 10 pounds as well? You look like you're doing it. Green screen it a little bit.
More of you to love, Leo. More of you to love.
That would be ideal, Mark, but the presenter is also running the meeting, so that's the way that works. So you're stuck with me for a couple of different things. So here's now hopefully you can see the delightful Archangel and its true height of 29 centimeters, and we're back going here. You can see it, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
It's honking, chonking, people. It's big.
I think it's going to be very well received, to say the least.
And if you guys want to know why it looks the way it does, you can look up the short story Dimitri wrote. It basically explains the origins of the archangels in our spotlight. So if you want to find out more, read it. I'm going to be talking about other stuff today.
Let's try that. That's a little bigger. 100 Kingdom, errant of the order of the shield. I missed the middle of the. Quite possibly the longest named character we have, for sure. Just like we had the biggest Archangel miniature, now we have the longest name. I mentioned on the last call, and I want to remind everybody that yes, we are giving you the card that you see there. And that card will go out to, if you bought the Errant of the Order of the Shield officer, it will go out to your direct order with your next direct order. And if you bought it from an FLGS, we are sending them to distributors and to FLGSs who bought the officers. So everybody will be able to get the card at no charge very soon. They started shipping last week with the January orders, so do look forward to that coming very soon. So now we're going to go to what's new. You've seen this in my background. You saw it about an hour ago. Welcome to our new righteous faction, the Yoni. Faction number 9. This is a new aesthetic. We're super excited to show it to you. It's a new twist for Conquest and a new twist on the Demon Samurai aesthetic. And I don't know, Stavro, before I start showing actual things, if you want to jump in on anything here.
So, yeah. It's not Weavers. And specifically, I do want to highlight a few things. Number one, we are focusing much more on the Yaokai and Oni aspect than we are focusing on the samurai. It exists, it's there, it pervades, but we chose to keep the hardcore samurai in our back pocket because God knows, maybe we have an idea of something cool to do with it later.
Please look. It's
Second,
going to be amazing.
for those of you who have been tracking the lore, I'll delve into it, and have been tracking the speculation on what the armies are. The Yoni are the abyssal host. So the story, I'm going to go through it quickly, right? Because I'm sure all of you want to go nuts over the miniatures. The story goes as follows. When the war, when the primordial war ended and the three horsemen were chained and Conquest agreed to be shattered, there was still a lot of shards and motes of creation and destruction that had to be swept up and dealt with. The vast majority of them were imprisoned deep, deep, deep in the elemental core of balance, in the hopes that they would basically be ground, become grist for the mill that would basically rebirth life in the cosmos after the war. So for eons untold, these motes of creation and destruction suffered within the elemental realms because it's inimical to their very nature. That earth, air, fire, water existence as it is inimical to them. Until they started basically becoming part of their prison. And they started abandoning the more primordial creation and primordial destruction and becoming part of it. So in effect, what you had is basically the abyssal host, the host of destruction, trapped within the very furnace of balance, slowly being ground down until they encountered a path out, a path created. As you know, there are three rules in Ea that dominate magic, creation, and all the primordial, which is that power corrupts, power calls power, and finally that belief is power. Each one of these ideas aligns with creation, with destruction, balance, and creation, respectively. Basically a culture that grew up in an independent archipelago developed a unique philosophy, one that worshipped the elements in a very plain, austere, and simple way as fonts of enlightenment, to refine one's soul and ascend. Because this belief was centered around the elements and their virtues, that belief cast a shadow, cast an echo into the elemental planes. And these trapped beings, for the first time, saw a path out. Right? And that path was literally the prayers of this ascetic island-born culture. It took them centuries to be able to take the first steps on this path. Because if enlightenment was difficult for mortals, imagine what it was for guys literally caught in an elemental hell. But in time, with discipline, with self-denial, with focus, they slowly started climbing this path, this sort of road that had been offered to them out. And the more they traveled, the more the road became defined. And the more defined the road became, the easier it was for them to rise. And the more of them that rose, the more the path got defined. And slowly the entire, let's call it, race, culture, faction started flowing up this path of enlightenment to escape their confinement. And in that flow upwards, they were abandoning parts, abandoning their more primordial, more untamed natures. So, the plan of the dragons, what's the word? Failed successfully. And thus the Yoni were born. Over time, this sort of ascension up this path, which eventually became a stairs, which eventually became a tower, eventually became a pagoda, and is now what is known as the fivefold path. It is this, it's literally a pagoda so large within the bowels of the elemental domains that it's a realm unto itself, forged from the discipline of the Yoni and the prayers of the faithful. The problem was that this could reach and scratch the heavens, as the Yoni see the prime domain, the prime material domain, right? The domain that the rest of Conquest occupies. But they couldn't get across it. It was a window. Only the very, very greatest amongst them could. He traveled. He became a myth. And he was, and then he returned to help his people ascend. All of this, by the way, is in further detail written out. Tasso, it's gone live, or it will go live right after this?
Right after.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they were basically stuck in this realm that they had created, right? And within this fivefold path, where they could catch a glimpse of heaven, but they couldn't see it. They couldn't get into it. And then the theist church went and did something very dangerous.
Ambitious.
Yes. And they literally, for those who don't know, when they summoned the archangels, they didn't understand. They were using principles they didn't understand from the tectons and from the city-states, right? Stolen manuscripts, and they were based on the tectons' geomantic web. You guys don't know about the tectons yet. You're slowly going to be finding out about them. And the result was that instead of communion with the higher realms, what they did is literally punched a hole straight through and dragged something forth. That something was not what they were expecting. It was not the Yoroni, but it was not what they hoped for. Now, the archangels are a byproduct of this ritual. And the issue is that this created a sort of a vibration, let's call it. So I don't want to call it a tear because that implies something permanent. But imagine that it was like a fabric stretched taut, and suddenly in that movement, in that sudden spasm, the windows became doors for the Yoroni. And the first that made it through were able to stabilize it. And so right now, that's how it works. The Yoroni do not exist within a geographic region of Ea, because they are coming from the elemental domains. They're sort of intersecting with Ea. The elemental domains, if you've read the Spotlight, have multiple layers, and the higher up you get in the layers, that's the closest to the prime material plane. So if you were in the early layers of the fire domain, what you would have is a heat-blasted, scorched version of the prime. And as you go deeper and deeper, it starts becoming more and more and more elemental and more primordial, right? Until you end up at the deepest levels where it's basically this roiling sea of flame, where the deepest, darkest things live. By the way, those of you who were wondering what the Rakshasa were and how they were corrupted elemental beings so deep within the elemental planes, whereas the human corruption is normally kept to the lighter planes, guess what? They're Oni who never followed the path of enlightenment, yet somehow managed to escape. I leave that somehow to be speculated upon. Where was I? I lost track now. Apologies.
What I am loving about this so much is, remember that story time email I sent you over the holidays where I said, Savo, you're going to be doing story times. You just signed up for it, brother, because everybody here is like, I love this so much.
Cool. Guys, I love it.
Yeah, you're going to be doing this on a
This
more
is my absolute passion, more so than the cool art, more so than the awesome miniatures. It's making stories that is my passion.
I love this so much. It's so fun to see people. They are so excited for it, buddy.
Cool.
I am going to have to slow you down a little bit, though. Otherwise, we'll be here for 2.5 hours.
Okay. So, in effect, Yoroni don't appear physically in a specific location. They can appear anywhere, in particular, where there is a confluence of elements. So they are particularly prone to, for example, appearing on volcanoes, right? Because you've got earth, you've got air, you've got fire. Riverbeds, by rivers, water, earth, air, anything that has multiple elements, or even crossroads, they find it easier to cross over, and they usually create small communities. Now, I'm going to go into their revealed subfactions quickly, and then we're going to delve into the actual art. So most of the Yoroni follow the Bakufu. It's the sort of the ruling elite of the fivefold path of the Eternal Pagoda, ruled by the Demon Emperor, right? They have two paths, because once they've reached heaven, right? Once they've broken out, half of them say, "I earned this through my ascetic devotion, my honor, my discipline, my commitment, and my enlightenment." And they stick to it. The other half say, "I just made it to heaven. Heaven is my reward. I will live this to the fullest." So from one path, you have two different philosophies, which, while incongruous, you got to remember these guys spent eons together. So even though their paths look opposites, they still actually work together quite well. They respect each other. They come into conflict, but they respect each other. So you've got what we call the Akuma, who are all about living the bestest life that they can now that they've achieved enlightenment and reached heaven. And you've got the Bushi, who are all about following the code that got them there. So that's one subfaction. The second subfaction is the Kotodama. I'm murdering this. It's the Kotodama Gake, I think it is. I'm sorry, Japanese pronunciation is terrible. Give me one moment. I gotta rush. Kototamagaku. There we go. Kototamagaku. They effectively, they're the priests and the spellcasters of the society. They're the closest you have to priests, but they're not quite. What they are about is names and naming, and identity is a precious commodity to all of the Oni because so much of it was lost in the erosion. So the Kototamagaku are all about the inscription of names over on the prime material plane to then bring forth those of their brethren who weren't big enough, strong enough, enlightened enough to make the transition. Because you might have the enlightenment but lack the power. You might have the power but lack the enlightenment. Generally, they try to avoid bringing those, let's be honest. But you're going to see their troop types are different. We're going to delve into it when the time gets there. And they're basically the priests, sorcerers, and mahojin of the Yoroni. And lastly, a faction that you will not see for a little while yet, because we're going to release as quickly as possible, but we want to release the faction as a whole later, much like we did with the theists, are the shinobi, who are Yoroni who never truly abandoned the desire to return to destruction, to return to the void. And they see the prime as the ultimate trap, something that has to be escaped in order to reach back what they were before, beings of void, beings of destruction, being primordial beings. And so they have all of these strange philosophies, mentalities, and powers that make them not quite as friendly as the other Yoroni, but also not necessarily inimical, because they're not trying to cause damage. They are trying to escape what they consider to be a prison and a trap. Okay. Done. You want to show the miniatures, Daryl?
Beautiful. We have a bunch of hands raised. I want to make sure to get to those. And I do know, you already heard it here, that there will be story times coming. So don't worry. This will not be the last time you get story time. And I know Khan, Dimitri, Stavro are working very, very hard on some lore, pleasant surprises that are not part of this happy hour, but some things to talk about coming up in future happy hours. So,
so I'm not supposed to talk about them. Good to know.
We have a lot to talk about.
Pointing that out.
We have a lot to talk about here, so I figured we have to keep a few things for the future happy hours. Otherwise, people.
I'm gonna give a brief overview of their rules as well. It is going to be very brief. Leo will answer the more specific questions.
We have that broken out in the slides, Stavros, so maybe hold that thought for a second. Wendy, you had Sam had his hand up first, but maybe he's finished. Maybe we answered it. Wendy, do you want to go? Wendy? Maybe she raised her hand by mistake. Adrian, you were next. Do you have a question?
Yes. So something that Stavros said intrigued me. The elemental planes. Are we talking about the sort of the same cosmological area or slash dimension that the Sorcerer Kings are exploring?
Yes.
Yes.
But what you have to be aware is that they were so deep that nobody was truly aware of where they were. And the strange interaction between the faith that traveled to them and their ascension through that path hid them to a certain degree. And the creation of the eternal pagoda, it's a realm almost within itself, within the elemental domains. But yes, at heart, they are within the elemental domains of that the Sorcerer Kings frequent. If you notice, though, there's a lot of cosmological thing that I could go into a lot of detail. But if you read the domain spotlight that we put out a little while ago, it will explain a little bit of it, and it will show how the domains can also be aspected to creation or destruction.
And just to expand a little on that, to give you some perspective about what Stavros said, like the Yoni had eons to slowly build the pagoda and make it a separate kind of, to use more classic terms, kind of a demi-plane within all the elemental planes, okay? Or a demi-domain within all the elemental domains. The Sorcerer Kings happened a few centuries ago. That's when they first gained access to the elemental planes. So they had plenty of time to adapt and create the Eternal Pagoda, and thus avoid detection, let's say.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for answering.
My pleasure.
So you will notice that the Yoni are brute only. That is correct. There is not a single infantry model in their range. Everything is brute or monster.
Just for those that are going to see the rules in a little bit, the only thing, it's only technically classified as infantry, but it isn't.
Oh, come on. Yes.
I was about to say something.
Here.
Yeah, good call.
Hold on. I can be obnoxious here. Wait, I know the buttons. I will not be defeated. I am being defeated by the buttons, aren't I?
You can't share, I think.
Yeah, you can't.
No, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share. Oh, damn it. I am being defeated.
You'd have to send it to me after our happy hour a couple times ago.
No, I did it. I did what I wanted to do.
Oh, I mean, that you can do.
So,
Sang, you have a question?
Yeah. Just quick cleanup for me, because I'm kind of new to the world of Conquest. When the Stavros said that the plane, Yoronis got into the heaven, are you talking about the material plane, or is the heaven
Correct.
as a different
Material.
plane?
No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
They envision the material plane as heaven, given the hell. that
Ah,
they
okay,
were-
I got it. So they're the one, they're trying to get into a material plane where all the conquest is going on.
Correct.
Yeah, right. All right, gotcha.
Correct.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So what you guys are seeing on the screen is a Yoroni Oyabun, one of the two generals that they can muster. The pleasant surprise is that their characters are plastic. So no big, expensive, chunky resin miniatures, unless you want them, because there's going to be a number of Artisan Series guys coming out.
There'll be some founders, I'm sure, somewhere along the way here too.
Yeah. So many good ideas that didn't make it to the final cut. As you can see, they are significantly chunkier than your average human. There was just no way to represent the Yoroni and the Yaokai, the Yoni, the Kappa, the Tengu, everything, and make it interesting. Now, there's another reason why they're all the same size and why they're all brutes. But I'll follow Daryl as he goes through the slides.
Leo, you're up, buddy.
Saber, you want to do, like you said...
I'll walk through them quickly, and then, Leo, you take it from there and clarify the bits that I muck up. So, at the heart of it, if you know Conquest, you know that we use command cards, right? Each regiment is represented by a command card. You put the command cards in a stack in the order that you want to draw them, and as you draw them, you activate the regiment, right? Every army does this. The Yoroni don't. Every Yoroni has a philosophy, right, which is determined by where his origin started him and how he was best influenced by the particular hell he was in. So they have what we call ideal cards. Each regiment will have an ideal, and any ideal card you draw can activate any regiment. So the Yoroni are incredibly flexible when it comes. You can literally activate whatever unit you want with whatever ideal card you want. But the real power of the Yoroni is when you coincide the ideal card with the regiment that matches that ideal. And then suddenly that ideal leads to an epiphany, which is the extra power that particular troops have. So it's an easy army to master because in the beginning you don't have to think about your sequence of activation so much, but as you start transitioning into the more traditional conquest mentality of timing your attacks and your slots, you're going to be unlocking more and more of their power as you time your attacks perfectly with the ideal cards to the principles of the units. Your warlords, your supremacy abilities, and a lot of your spells, effects, abilities, items, and masteries are going to key off your ideals, allowing you to switch them, swap them, enhance them, and generally play around with them.
Leo, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was for me it was a lot of fun. That concept, I think, when you have a faction that is just so unique in terms of where it comes from a lore perspective, I think it's really important to see how you can take all of that concept of discipline, asceticism, enlightenment, meditation, and how you can put it in a faction that is essentially a brawler faction. And so these five ideal card types, essentially, at first glance, yeah, they allow you to be quite free in terms of what activates what. But it starts becoming very interesting that when you start taking sequencing very important, and when your opponent will as well trying to dismantle it, right? You're going to notice how greatly the power of your army, how powerful, but at the same time how customizable and how tailored to your liking you can make it. I like to think of the Yoroni as a faction you can play and grow with, and I really like that perspective. And it really, in a way, and that's accidental, and realizing as I'm saying it, it really ties to the actual lore of the faction in a way. So I'm very happy to see that. The ideal cards really allow for some very unique concepts and some very unique mechanics, and just super excited. And by the way, we're going to post the full rules spread at the end of the happy hour, so you don't have to squint too hard to read everything and read through the whole thing. You'll be able to get the full rules by the end of this. But yeah. Now, when it comes to disciplines, essentially is somewhere in between items and masteries of other factions. It's more of things that these characters have mastered, or they have taught others how to master. Unlike your regular items and masteries, these disciplines have to be unlocked. So, for example, if you want to take a Ka force discipline, you must include a Ka character to unlock it. Now, from that point on, that discipline could be equipped and purchased by any character, right? No matter the type. But for every one of a specific type, you need to have at least one of character of that type, which makes for some very it's a Ka character. Yeah, that's a very good one.
Oh dear God, there's another one.
The Ka character, that was a great pun. The same thing you're gonna see with this the spells. The spells are not they're not damage spells. They are combo enablers, right? They are about that working together. That sort of that important, let's say, comboing of one ability to the other to build to these more powerful abilities as well. And so you're going to notice that we have 5 different ideal card types, and for that you're going to see you have 3 disciplines of every type.
Liam, you have a question? Liam? All right. I guess Liam raised his hand by mistake.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just trying to unmute myself.
Oh, okay.
I just heard about the part about you have to have for example, the Ka character to be able to take those Ka units. Is that more for the last argument of Kings, or does that also transfer over to First Blood as well?
Oh no, so you need to have a Ka character to get Ka discipline. When it comes to regiments, we're going to talk about a very interesting new mechanic. So I think that's a different conversation that I'm looking. That's a great segue if that is the next slide. That's an amazing question, by the way.
It is. There is one slide in between, but we are going to do a First Blood take on this too. So do not worry. First Blood is coming in the presentation as well, and you, Yoni, are definitely part of First Blood.
Lovely, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So, Stavro, do you want to kick modular regiments off from a lore perspective, or would you like me to?
So, as we mentioned before, Yoroni are spent eons together, and are, despite being very different, very comfortable around each other. And one of the ways that this is manifested on the table is their ability to fight pretty much seamlessly together, despite the different manifestation of their particular path to enlightenment. So this means that a unit can be composed of multiple different types of Yoroni. So you can have an Oni, a Kappa, a demonling horde, and a Tengu within the unit, each giving their their stance characteristics to the units. You will notice that they all have the same defensive stats, so that makes tracking wounds and that much easier, so as not to create the nightmares that we all know. But the nature of the regiment is determined by the leader. So in other words, even though the unit is mixed, the leader, right, the regiment that you pick to create the unit around, he is determined at army list building time, and he determines what card you put in and what epiphany he can have if he matches that card.
Yeah, I think modular regiments was a great opportunity to show a little bit that even though all these different paths that the Yoroni were taking, I think being able to work together and just an ascent in that way. And so Liam's question was great, because when it comes to unlocking regiments, well, every character has access to a modular regiment, regardless of what sort of type that regiment will be. When you're building a modular regiment, like Stavros said, you're choosing a character stand, and then you're able to choose the rest of your stand makeup, as long as more than half the stands are the same as the leader. Essentially, that's it. The leader will give you, of course, their own special rules and abilities as a model themselves, but they will also give you a command special rule, which essentially will specialize that regiment into a role. And then, of course, we'll also determine things like its class and think of, let's say, what kind of ideal card type you will be adding to your command deck. The really cool thing is, like we said before, when you take a card of the same type and you activate a regiment of that type, so a Ka card activating a Ka regiment, you gain the Ka benefits. Great. But when you have a character in there as well, even if that character is of a different type, when you use let's say a cheat card to activate a cheat character, that character gives the chi bonuses to the regiment as well, regardless of the regiment's types. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. There are no Entourage activations in this army. But what it does is that this sort of modularity and this sort of, let's say, mix and matching allows you to have an incredibly vibrant, colorful, unique army, and allows you so many different gameplay styles with the same models. What's best is now that is that the minimum regiment size for modular regiment is 2 stands, which means that's becomes very very convenient, because when you, for example, you have 2 boxes of something, you can make 3 regiments of 2. Of course, we're going to help you out with the cards and everything, but this is an army all about customization, flexibility, and helping you play the style that you want to play and reflects what you like. There's always a reason to play with all of your different stands, because every regiment will give you cool abilities regardless of whether it's just a troop or whether it's a command stand in the regiment. And no, Scott, they don't break with they automatically they get a free additional rally once the first time that they break. Just
Ooh, these guys look so cool.
Keep going, Leo. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just should I?
I just switched on you.
Sorry that I was answering some questions. Stavros, sorry that I
no worries.
So here we see an example of 3 different, there are 6 in total, different stands that make up the modular regiment. Now you're going to notice, let's say that the Oni Akuma, right, we have their impressive stats. Like Stavros says, the reason you're going to see similar resolve, defense, and evasion values is from a game system perspective, let's say. But then when you have, let's say, a regiment like the Kami Akuma, Chi, resistance, they embody the physical, your ability to take physical pain and endure it, you're going to see that it adds defense and evasion to the regiment, so it gives it a more defensive role, as opposed to, let's say, the Oni Akuma, where it adds attack characteristic to everybody in the stand and gives you the Juggernaut special role. And then, of course, we have the Tengu Bushi, which are duelist, fast flying. We have a ranged version of the Tengu called the Tengu Akuma, right, which is your ranged support stand. We have the Kappa Bushi, from a more of a water, let's say, mutable sort of nature, that they can allow the regiment to be activated and gain the effects of any concept card. And finally, we have in the rules, you're going to find the Origami Warriors, more of like Void, these beautiful models that are there to fill out your regiments and bring their own little mystical abilities in there.
So the Origami Warriors are...
They have Kitsune.
Oh yeah, there's the Kitsune. So the Origami Warriors are the troops created by the Koto Dama. Oh my god, I should have picked an easier name. Daryl's going to be nodding sagely in the background. And they are basically large sheets of paper inscribed with the names of minor Oni, who all work together to sort of animate this piece of paper.
There will be pronunciation time as well as a separate happy hour.
It will be led by Evan.
I love it.
Dustin, hang on, Dustin. Just hold that thought a moment, buddy. Love that.
Kitsune is just an awesome sculpt and an awesome model. And I think you can see a little bit if you see at the warband selection. Essentially, it's not as limited as you see, because modular regiment is really the staple of the faction. Modular regiment just means that everything goes. You can mix and match these 6 different stats to your heart's desire. You can have whichever one of those types being your leader. Is just a way of building it, a very freeing way of let's say creating an army list, but at the same time, working really well and having you make some really meaningful decisions. So I was just very excited to share. And the last one of these are, I included them in the presentation because apart from everything else, we also have the opportunity to have some really unique mechanics and some really unique and fresh takes on monsters. We were looking at where monsters are when it comes to the overall meta. Where we're looking, how can we re-engage with monsters without, adding more attacks or more wounds. And the Dai Bakemono and the Yase no Bakemono, just the two different, let's say, versions of two sides of the same coin, is just personally a design that I'm very excited about. So the Dai Bakemono has this, let's say, unseating of the sword, and like as a master swordsman, it's slicing through an enemy unit just to find itself on the other side. Of course, this is a new type of action where, by performing this one action, essentially it's a two action pretty much. It's like more of a powerful ability that you can use it, and that's your activation. But it opens up some very, very, very interesting gameplay opportunities and new tactics to explore. As opposed to the Yase no Bakemono that revels in playing in army lists that makes great use of all of the different types. Like the other types where you activate them with an ideal card and they gain a bonus until the end of the round. That's not Yase no Bakemono. Actually, what it does, that every time you activate it with a different card, it keeps those abilities and it keeps getting more feral and stronger and angry and madder. It's just ready to destroy everything in its path. Just a very cool concept.
And you have to wait to see the picture. So here's a quick glance. We're going to see more, don't worry. And Evan's going to take us through a little bit of the First Blood mechanic here.
Hi, this is Van speaking for First Blood. So the way we look at Yoni and First Blood is that, again, we're still maintaining the concept of these ideal cards that embodies what is essentially the core of Yoni, these 5 things: Ka, Chi, Kaze, Sui, and Ku, except we're putting them in a little bit in a sort of a different twist into it when we get down to the characters. But essentially, we'll be using these ideal cards instead of command cards, and you can be used to activate any regiments. And of course, if you match the ideal with the battlefield role, you gain an extra bonus. So there will be an additional information in each of the regiment that will notify what the battlefield role is. Now, the cool thing about First Blood in terms of Yoni is that we try to sort of, I would say, make the characters the spotlight of the army, because they are the ones who's going to embody a lot of these idealism, and these idealism will shine through, which resonates with everyone who has the same ideals. So if you look at the sample of the characters that we have on the next slide there.
All right, hold on, coming right up. Come on. There it is.
So if you look at the daimyo right here, it has the battlefield role of Ka, and it has a special ability called the Satsu, which gives all regiments with a battlefield role of Ka with a special ability. So a lot of the focus for First Blood characters in Yoni is characters embodying these ideals, these abilities that will shine through in the army. So obviously you can make an entire warband full of Ka to take advantage of the daimyo's ability to buff all the Ka characters, or you can have a more flexibility in your army by putting a lot of different types of regiments. Of course, with the way that the ideal card works, you can activate any regiment that gives you that kind of flexibility, but you can also make them a little bit mono in terms of their ability. So we're giving a lot of options for players to build and mix around each army. Each character will give a different things. Each character can amplify and accentuate certain types of playstyles, and we're leaving it to the players to sort of unlock all these potentials of the demon samurais as much as you like to see fit. And one last thing that we're going to show is the First Blood Yoni for both the Oni Akuma and the Kami Akuma. So as you can see, one is geared towards Ka, which means that they're more attuned with the offensive style, and the other one is for more Chi, which is to be more defensive. So as you can see, they themselves are very, very powerful already. They have very good stats. They have elite level stats, which abilities that puts them high above, whatever other brutes that you're seeing them. With the characters that amplifies certain types of these abilities, though, it makes First Blood for Yoni, even though that you're playing with maybe half of what the models that you get when playing with other types of warbands, but we will give you the tools and ability to experiment with all these army list and regiment building, so you can have a more very fun experience with these Yonis and make your experience in finding these out in a very interesting manner. So go ahead, experiment, look at them, etc. And we'll see how it goes. And for our playtesters who are in this, they're laughing at the key name, the key names that I was giving to each of the names. So I will later tell Stavros which one is Stavros.
So the Yoni are coming, and this is going to be the first launch. The limited edition Kitsune. Dustin, here you go, buddy.
Wow.
This is going to be a preview piece, only offered for 2 months, February and March. Jordan already has a question. I love that about you, Jordan.
That is amazing.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, not so much a question. I'm supposed to get married this year, so how could you do this to me?
You're supposed to get what?
I'm supposed to get married this year. How could you do this to me? But no, this model.
I think we know what's gonna. I think we know what you need to register for.
Yeah, that joke has actually been made when you guys posted that like preview, like kind of silhouette. I was like, oh no. But no, this model looks incredible. I think this is gonna be this will be seen in competitions like 100%.
We're very excited about it. We've tried to make it very accessible. This is an artisan series, but not a founders, but it is a founders quality, so that it will be, available for 2 months. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, sign up for it. We're pretty excited to show it to you. The second thing we're going to show you is, and we're going to show you most of what we have ready to show, but here you're going to see how in March, the way it's going to launch. 2-player starter set, Wadroon versus Yoni. Brutes versus Beasts. What do you think? I like all the hearts. Love that.
Cool set.
Right there on the middle, buddy Kang. $199.99. It is true what you guys have always told me. Gamers really don't read, do you?
Wow.
So we're very, very pleased to give you incredible value as you look at, a Ronin versus Raptor program. This is over $200 in savings, team. Seriously, it is a $400 value for $200 or euros, and you're getting 2 sets of dice. You're getting 2 wooden measuring sticks. You're getting 2 quick start guides. You're getting how many, Evan? 2. Oh, he's on mute. Sorry. 2 maps. 2 sets of terrain. And guess what? I think I already said that. No, I did say that already. You're going to get 2 sets of assembly guides, 2 sets of bases and cards. 2. All for the low price of $200, essentially, right? So you're going to save $200. You're going to, I've seen a lot of the chat, and people are super excited about this set, and we're going to show you more. Don't worry, this is not the end. This is just the middle, if you will, of what we've got coming up, because we actually have stuff for other factions here too. Shocking, I know, but I think this one deserves a little love on its own. We wanted to bring something really special for 2025, and when we looked at the Yoni, we felt confident that they would be popular and a nice surprise, but we also know that many of you are going to want to get a friend into Conquest. This is going to be the year where the friends and family program comes into play, and people are being dragged in, and we didn't want them to be dragged in kicking and screaming. We wanted them to be dragged in with, which one do you want to be, right? And have it be a really hard choice. And I think this is a really hard choice. How do you pick? How do you pick? The samurai or the sauropods?
You just get the whole thing. You don't pick.
Or you keep the whole thing, and then you get your friend to pick the whole thing, and then you each have 2 factions to play against. So, yeah, I think we feel very, very strong about what we've got coming up. We're going to be showing in a minute. Let me just bring it back up on the screen because it's a separate slideshow. we're going to take you through the catalog of what we have coming up January through May of 2025. Some of which I know you've seen, some of which we showed the last time around, but we still want to show you everything we can and bring you the best and the brightest of what we have. And I think, we're working really hard, as you probably saw with the 100 Kingdom set, to bring value to the gameplay, but also some innovation. Do the Yoni have a light unit, Leo?
Yeah, they do have light options. They have demonlings, little mischievous
Shikigami.
Shikigami. And there are other options as well. There are other options for you to deploy things during the early stages of the game. Yes.
The Dumaru Jinsei are a light option as well, which is probably the easiest one to say.
So January releases, again, we went through them at the beginning, so I'm going to go pretty quickly through these because I know you want to see the other stuff. But, we do have a kick-ass January, if I do say so myself. So I don't want to just roll right through. The 100 Kingdoms have had not only a beautiful refresh in terms of the men-at-arms and some of the new Sakari and the Archangel with a monster and Leo, in addition to the happy hour, post-happy hour, I should say, companion app update and rules update. Yes, all the 100 Kingdoms are coming there too. So we talked about a lot of the updates on the last happy hour. All that goodness is going to show up in the mere hour-ish or so. Samuel, I should say, you have a question. Samuel? Oh, you just asked the question by chat. You don't have to raise your hand to question in the chat. I have a question about the command cards. I already have the Shield official, but I need... Oh, the officer, the Aaron of the Shield. That was in the very beginning of the presentation. If you ordered it directly, the Aaron of the Officer of the Shield will be available to you. The card will come to you on your next order. And if you ordered it from your local gaming store, we will be sending it to the local gaming stores, either through their distributor or directly, depending on how it was ordered. But you will be able to get a free card. Do not worry. The Sakari, you've seen that as well, but I think they bear another viewing because they really are stunning models too. It's one of those embarrassment of riches scenarios as the sales and marketing guy, where we have so many great visuals to show you as we kick off this new year. And there's your redesigned men-at-arms. We've shown you them a couple times as the size matters comparison piece. And their dual kit brethren, the Crusaders. And now we get to the Yoni. And you've seen some of this already, including this lovely model, the Kitsune. She is a beauty.
So cool.
And I think it bears repeating because things get lost sometimes in translation. But again, this is the limited edition preview. So this is only going to be available for February and March. You definitely want to plan ahead accordingly.
She'll be able to be played as either, we like all of these to be playable, so she'll be playable as either the Onmyoji or the Bakasu. So either as the trickster or the spellcaster.
Here's the daimyo. No, a different pose. And the Oyabun, which you saw once before as well. But again, remember, all brutes, these are around 8 centimeters high. Here is the Kitsune Onmyoji. I will get it, Evan. We did a little tutorial before, so we weren't all tripping over all of the pronunciations, but I'm still going to manage to.
So cool. Demon Samurai, Kitsune, just win.
And the Bakasu. And as you can see here, these are dual kits as well. So you'll be able to make either from either kit.
You're
the Damaru Jinsei. This is going to be an exciting piece
These
coming
are
in,
so
I
cool.
think it's May, if I remember off the top of my head.
Those are my
it's
favorite.
May.
I think those ones are April, Daryl.
Are they April? I'm not looking at. I can't look at the order form, the chat, and the catalog at the same time. So, thank you, Reese.
Wow.
Yeah, this is one of those units that the execution completely exceeded the original concept.
And how will they be to assemble, Stavro?
Hellish?
How many hands? will
There's no hiding that, Daryl. There is no hiding that. Sorry, guys, but something this pretty comes at a price. We'll do our
many
best.
hands? How many friends need to come over while they're being assembled to hold?
None. They'll distract you. You need silence. Focus.
So cool.
What was it? I am a man of focus, commitment, and sheer will. That's kind of what you'll need here. But, dear mother of God, they're sexy.
Yeah, they really did come out gorgeous. You're the Kami Akuma. You've seen these ones before as well. But they bear being seen again because they are just fantastically enormous.
Mustachios! Belly mustachios.
And the Kapabushi, again, just really, I think, impressive sculpts that you guys put together, Stavro.
The only
I
thing
mean,
that's bad is that the helmets hide their little bull heads. Because old Kappa have this little dimple on their head that has water, fresh water, and if it ever spills out, they die. So when you're going into battle, you don't want that water spilling, so they have helmets. You will find cucumbers hidden around the designs.
And most of us saw. I mean, some of us are seeing this still for the first time, and most of these were seen yesterday for the first time in their glory. So all of us were like, "Wow, this group you've seen as well." But again, these dudes spent some time at the gym.
Yeah, the idea here was to convey the raw power, the overwhelming, and if you look at them, there's actually quite a bit of traditional mecha and Gundam design in the shape of their torso and bodies.
And then the Tengu dual kit, the Bushi and the Akuma can be made out of either box.
Yep. Again, when execution exceeds intent.
Off you go, Darren. Thank you.
I love the one Tengu with his musical instrument on his back. I forget what those ones are called.
You will notice that all of the Yoroni have musical instruments somewhere. Music or
Shamisen.
poetry.
Thank Joey.
Welcome.
I love the one with the white hats.
These are cool.
Oh, so that is what we have to show you on the Ironi for this happy hour. Yes, monsters will be the next one. We have more stuff to show.
Wow.
We have a lore campaign planned for June, and for everyone's benefit, that is also going to be the Wadroon against the Ironi as a campaign, so that as you've now built up your 2-player starter and you're getting into flow, you'll have a campaign right behind it to go and start play in a very specific way. Kang, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Stavro, specifically about that campaign. Now that I've heard that, is this going to play a lot on the interaction between the elements that are intertwined with the cults and the Yoroni's elemental inclinations?
No, because there's another story that is going to interact with that, with another elemental race.
Thank you.
No, this is just going to be a straight up land grab with a lot of consequences because it comes at a very bad time.
Oh, okay. Thank you for answering, Stavro.
Liam.
Again, I was just wondering, with the two-player starter set, roughly sort of how many points is it either side? Obviously for army building and things.
I don't think we've done it for the Aroni yet, so I think it would be hard to answer that. The Wadroon, do you know it, Leo, off the top of your head?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat?
How many points is each
How
list?
many
I think
points
the
is
average
each side of
level
the
around
two-player?
800.
Oh, they're about 750, more closer to
On
750.
the two-player?
No, sorry, for each side, not altogether.
No, yeah, total, right? The two-player is probably around 350 to 4 of each.
No, they're about 7 each.
750 and 750.
Yeah.
Oh, 750 each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely, thank you.
Brodislav, you were next. Joey?
Yeah, I wanted to verbally convey a question from Twitch because it's awesome and I loved Stavros' explanation. Hey, Stavros, where did these guys come from? As far as where do they appear in the world?
So as we mentioned before, they come from the elemental realm, so they can pop out all over the map. Little villages and little hidey holes of them and little strongholds that are slowly going to grow are appearing all over Ea. Because they come from basically a parallel domain, and their tower basically lets them come out wherever there is a confluence of elements. So, volcano peaks, riverbeds, deep forests, glades, anything like that makes it easier for them to step from the eternal pagoda into the prime domain.
No one is safe.
Nobody is safe nowhere. It's actually, guys, a really big challenge when designing the world and the factions in getting them to interact. Like, why are these guys from all the way over here interacting with these guys from all the way over there? A lot of thought has gone into this and future factions as to why precisely there's ass kicking for goodness.
Rodislav, you had a question. I may have answered it in chat, but in case I didn't, go ahead and please ask. Rodislav? Okay. Adrian, you have a question?
So like lore-wise, from the point of view of your 100 kingdoms or city-states, are the Yoni a faction that can be reasoned with? Or are they like basically just hostile?
No. The Yoroni are dreamlike and strange and alien. Imagine how the first Europeans felt when they came across Japanese culture and said, "What the?" It's something similar, but combine that. I don't know if you remember that scene from The Lord of the Rings when they're walking in the woods and they catch the first sight of the elves. They hear the music. They see these shapes moving in the woods, right? Combine those two feelings, these strange, otherworldly things that you don't understand. You can interact with them, but because you don't understand and they are so absolute and rigid or absolute and self-involved, that lack of understanding can become violent very quickly, but it can just as easily become, come around the fire, let's exchange stories, or, I'll help you with whatever your problem is, traveler, or, off with your head. They are, because, again, these bits will be expanded on further, because enlightenment is a very personal thing for these guys. It's a very personal path. They're utterly mercurial. For them, it makes perfect sense, and it's a further step on their path. For you, it's, again, the whole idea was to channel that. I was reading a lot of manuscripts from when traders, particularly Dutch and Portuguese traders, first encountered Japan. And there was this fantastic story where it's like a trader describing a meeting between two samurai, and he's like, they sat down for tea, everything was fine, and then one of them suddenly drew his head and lopped the other guy's head off. No warning, no nothing. What the hell? You know? And the idea is to convey this sense of wonder and mystique and mystery to them. They're dangerous, but they're mercurial. They're not evil. They're not, I would not put them as inimical as the Old Dominion.
Okay. Thank you for answering. This is gonna be a fun faction to play around with the role-play game when that one comes out.
I know. I know.
Tabletop Eiffel, you have a question.
Okay, can you hear me? Now.
Yes.
I saw we got now Vanguard, and behind that is a rule question. Sorry, as always. We got Vanguard, and behind that was a number. It's 3. It means 3 inches, I think. When we can expect that rule drop comes for the rework of the Vanguard special rules and the consortium of changes we get?
Excellent question. So yeah, there are more changes, there are more updates and more cool things to come. Of course, the Yoni and the new exciting 100 Kingdoms stuff are the coolest. Right at the end of this happy hour, you're gonna get the 100 Kingdoms and the Yoni for you to be able to see, strategize, read through, and then on Monday we're gonna drop the new rules for Vanguard. A lot of quality of life updates for TLAK, for example. Not changes, but timing to all of supremacies and all masteries in the game. So the same way you have it, let's say you're going to be seeing that something is only active in battlefield, always active or activated. So no longer having to ask or wonder whether something is always active or not. We're going to see all of the cool first blood changes we talked about last happy hour. So you can see that there. Now, if to answer your question right now, Vanguard X simply means X is that instead of getting an entirely one additional march, essentially, you add X amount of inches to the move, and some may be getting more than others.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Sang?
Yeah, a question about the sub-factions for the Euronis. We heard that there were 3 of them. One of them were elite